Tony, you guys did a lot of good things today. What pleased you the most?
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, obviously we shot the ball well. You saw the good ball movement and cutting, and so that was nice to see everyone involved. And then Stretch is a real good defense. And then the second half, you know, they put their head down and went after us early to start the second half. But I just thought it was, again, another well-rounded, good ball movement. For the most part, defensively in the first half, it was sound. And again, when the ball's going in like that, it sort of covers up some of the breakdowns we had defensively. So again, offensively, I was very pleased, and defensively, you know, that's just can't ever stop. You can't rest on the defense, and that's got to keep getting better and better. But I liked obviously seeing Isaac shoot it like that. Seeing, you know, you watched Rhodey use his passing and his cutting with Jake and Reese, and got it going. I thought those guys were good.
Greg and Mike and Zach.
Yeah, after Isaac's day today, he's up over 50% from three this year. I think he was like 39 last year. Is there anything you're seeing with his three-point shot selection, anything different?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's, you know, obviously in his first year he deferred more. We had older guys, and now, you know, he's the second most experienced player on our team, even though he's a sophomore. And he knows we need him, and I've liked seeing, you know, and that's usually a progression you want for a guy that, okay, this is what's needed of me, look for it, make good decisions. And he wasn't all threes. I know he was 6 of 8, but he had a couple where he was down the lane on the rim, so that was good. And I thought he's been defending well. He had a little trouble with, you know, the start of the second half with Starling, who's a very aggressive driver, but I think he, you know, obviously we know he can shoot the ball, and I just think, you know, with him, sometimes he's screening, and so they don't want to help off him, which opens other stuff, and then sometimes he's moving, and he's getting a nice feel for where his shots are, and then, you know, he took a couple deep ones that, you know, you're kind of like, okay, but he was on today.
Okay, Mike.
Tony, this was a one-point game with about 6 minutes to go in the first half, and you guys just kind of took over from there. What was it that kind of started rolling there?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, obviously we started knocking down shots, but I mean, Syracuse has some individual guys, and they were playing well, and it can be a little bit demoralizing when all of a sudden the shots just start dropping, and, you know, whether they were in our face or they weren't, we're making deep threes, and then once we stretch it and had a good stretch of defense with it, that's where the separation occurred. And so, you know, again, I think just movement and just you're not, you know, you just keep playing the possessions. You can be down, you can be up, and that's why I kind of jumped on those guys at the end that let it play the possession, because they're those guys at the end, you know, they work so hard in practice, and they play better than that, and they had some hard stretches, but understand the team was pressing and all that. But I thought just the ability to just stay in the game, and all of a sudden it broke open with a real good defense and then some very good shooting with good movement offensively.
Coach, Elijah had 2 steals and a block. Just what value does his raw athleticism bring for you guys defensively?
I think you guys can see that, you know, and this is a guy that didn't play last year because of the ACL, and I think he's probably getting close to, you know, 100% with his knee, but there's just timing and feel. But yeah, no, he's you know, he's got a big upside, and again, he's just got to keep developing his shot, developing, you know, the defensive ability to stay continuous, and then use those God-given gifts that he has, because that's, you know, he can be electric when he's up in the air and with a burst of stuff. And so these are, you know, 2 games from pulling him off the red shirt that he's gotten great minutes. You know, he had, how many minutes did he play today? 18, and I think he played maybe 6 or 7 yesterday. So it was good, and we needed it.
Okay, all right.
Jud Min of Syracuse had a career high just last Tuesday, but what do you think you guys were doing today just to limit to just 5 points and none in the second half?
Yeah, well, you know, first, Reese is a very good individual defender, but we talked about it before the game. You know, it's not Reese or whoever's matched up on Judah, it's us versus him, and we have to make it tough. And he's so good at drawing fouls and making moves, and we just tried to, you know, we said own the lane, jam the lane. And Reese and Judah played so much together in the NBA Combine, all their workouts, so they obviously have familiarity with each other. But his game against LSU was terrific. And, you know, and sometimes when you have a big game and you're rolling, and then it you know, can be tough. But I thought it was a good team defense. And then Reese certainly, you know, he really was locked in because he knew that was going to be important in the game. And obviously Judah can play, and we respect him, but that was a key. And then, you know, obviously Starling got going. So I know it's a hard game for them, but they certainly have some ability, and I'm sure they'll bounce back.
Okay, time for a couple more. We'll take one here, then Mike and Tom.
I know rebounding's been a point of emphasis. You win the battle on the boards by 8, and not a lot of rebounds total in this game just
Yeah.
due to pace and play, but why do you think the battle on the boards, you guys won it, so lopsidedly today?
Yeah, I mean, they really space the floor well, and they attack the lane. They move it, boom, drive catches, so there's spacings there, so they're not quite, a lot of times your offensive system will determine how aggressive you can offensive rebound and what your philosophy is in transition D. So they probably weren't crashing as many because they opened up the floor, which is a challenge to guard, and you could see that in the second half. And so maybe it wasn't quite as many bodies flying in there as some of the other teams. But we just got to keep working on that. And, it's the old school check, hit, fine, and everybody come back and rebound and build the discipline to be good at that, because that can win you or lose you games.
Okay, last one, Mike.
Tony, you mentioned Isaac's defense. Do you have an update on Dante, and how comfortable are you with Isaac kind of filling that on-ball role, next to
Yeah.
Reese?
Dante is continuing to improve. He's just sprained his ankle pretty bad, and so we'll just keep getting him the treatments and seeing where he's at. Isaac has been guarding the ball really well. A little bit of trouble today to start that second half, so we got to take a look at that on film if it was, we didn't give him enough help or he got angled wrong, and they were running some good brush screens that opened it up and then they attack. That's part of their spacing. But yeah, I think he can guard the ball. Ryan can guard the ball. Certainly Isaac, Elijah, so you're going to have to use that, and that's obviously Dante is really good at that. So by committee for sure.
Okay, thanks, Tony.
Yep.
Well, Coach Autry next.